Products endorsed are not necessarily those of KTOV and staff or management.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy good morning to you, wherever you are. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by your favorite Allstate insurance agent, Merlin Hildred. There's a booklet out that I would like to call to your attention. It's known as the Oklahoma Higher Education, the Right Course for Business and Industry. And guess what? On the second page of this book, there stands Merlin Hildred in front of her desk with a message. The 21st century calls for a new commitment to higher education. My agency realizes that continued education is essential in the insurance industry, ever changing business environment, and that education assures the growth and development of our democracy. Thank you, Maryland. We are certainly proud of you. Today's program will be a Martin Luther King special, and whatever you do, I want you to stay tuned because we have selected to deliver our Martin Luther King's message today, one of God's chosen ministers. Today's program is dedicated to the members, the pastor, the trustees, the scholarship board of Avery Chapel AME Church. Last night, hundreds of people gathered at the Marriott Hotel for the Marcella Guthrie Scholarship Banquet. It all started with an idea. In 1987, Mr. William Guthrie gave $300 in memory of his loving wife, Mrs. Marcella Guthrie. Reverend Strong requested and was granted permission to use this money to initiate a scholarship fund for college students at Avery Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church. A scholarship committee was formed at the church. They were given the task of devising fundraising activities to increase the scholarship monies. The fund has grown. This was the fourth dinner. Reverend Strong had a vision that the church should become the leader as far as scholarships were concerned. He brought such outstanding speakers as the United States Congressman Floyd Flake from the 6th Congressional District in New York. He brought Dr. James Gavin, a senior scientific officer of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. But this year, he brought to Oklahoma City the Honorable, the distinguished Dr. Thurman Evans from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was a happy day for 13 students in August of 1994 when these 13 students were awarded a $1,000 cash scholarship each. 11 of these students were from Avery, and 3 at-large scholarships were awarded to recipients from Arkansas and Oklahoma. They also awarded scholarships to non-traditional students, those students that are working and trying to finish. Oh, it was a great night. It was a great night because Mr. Guthrie was honored. He had contributed $34,000 to the scholarship fund in memory of his wife. Yes, it was some night to remember. The Avery Chapel AME Church 26-piece gospel choir performed. Congressman Frank Lucas was present and offered his congratulations. Mr. John Moham stood in front of the audience and told about his lovely daughter, and a scholarship has been set up in honor of Moham, and I'm talking about Moham's daughter. It was an evening of excitement, but Dr. Thurman Evans spoke. And he spoke with authority. And there are some things that I want you to remember. He said, the talk does not cook rice. Talk does not cook rice. Well, we have a lot of people talking in Oklahoma City, but remember, Dr. Evans said last night that talk does not cook rice. He also stated that women know things, as he talked about his marriage, talked about his happiness, and he let everybody know that women know things. Yes, today's program is going to be a program that you will remember for a long time because I have something special for you. But let me get back to Avery Chapel's scholarship banquet. Let me salute the scholarship board, which consists of Dr. Strong, Dr. Mildred Randolph, Mr. Luther Mansfield, Mrs. Eleanor Bates, Attorney Kenneth Maillard, Attorney Robert H. Alexander Jr., Dr. John R. Griggs, Mrs. Laverne Reed, Mr. Chris Turner, and the honorary member is Mr. William Guthrie. I would like to congratulate all of you, and I would just like to congratulate you because I believe there were over 700 people that attended that banquet last night. Well, today is a day that you can go to Gates Barbershop and get your hair cut in time for the Martin Luther King celebration. Gates Barbershop, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Mr. Gates and Mr. Gamble are ready to serve you, to give you that kind of haircut that will make you look like you want to look. And you've got to be proud of yourself, and certainly we are proud of Mr. Gates, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue. You don't need to call him. All you need to do is just drive. You have plenty of parking space. Hometown IGA would like to wish each one of you a happy Martin Luther King Day celebration. Hometown IGA open 24 hours for your convenience. The address is 2001 Northeast 23rd Street. I'd love to hear Dr. Dial talk about Martin Luther King and what he believed. I'd love to hear Dr. Dial talk about how he has suffered along with other pioneers. And Dr. Dial on this historical day extends Martin Luther King's peace-loving greetings to all of you. And if you need some eyeglasses, please go by 934 Northeast 8th Street. You may call Dr. Dial at 235-0536. The Passion Home Health Care Center is located at 3838 Northwest 36th Street in Oklahoma City. They provide special home care. They will take care of your people like they have never taken care of, like they have never been taken care of. Now that's at Passion Home Health Care. The telephone number is 943-5779. Mrs. Deborah Jackson had a dream. A dream of preparing herself where she could be a real service to the community. What better service can you give to the community than taking care of those that need special care? Remember 943-5779. They go further than a home care. They will take you shopping. They will make telephone calls for you. I'm talking about the Passion Home Health Care Center, 943-5779. It has just come across our desk that Relly Foster Jr. is dead. If we have more information, we will give it to you. Not Relly Foster Sr., but Relly Foster Jr. Johnson Sardinas, one of the most outstanding child care center in the state of Oklahoma. Johnson Sardinas. with its staff, trained for the occasion, certified by the state of Oklahoma. Yes, Johnson Jardina's Daycare, located at 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 424-4656. That center is owned by two of our outstanding citizens, Paul and Gloria Matthews. It was really gratifying to see Mrs. Gloria Matthews as she celebrated last week with the Tuskegee Airmen. And last night she was there with the Avery family, taking part in the community, Mrs. Gloria Matthews. Now, if you need a place for your child where your child can receive an education, remember, Johnson Sardinas have a program that's available. They pick up and deliver. They pick up, I would like to repeat that, and deliver. Mrs. Matthews and Mr. Matthews also have Johnson Sardinas number 2 located at 2611 North Martin Luther King Avenue. You may call at 427-5274 or 424-4656. Yes, I would like to locate Miss Janet Scott, the mother of Andrea. If you are in the radio audience, please call 672-1220. Shelley is coming home today from Dallas. She is coming home today because of a commitment that she made before she went to Dallas. The Urban League of Greater Oklahoma City Incorporated is a sponsor of a youth group. And today they are having a luncheon that will be held at the Applewood restaurant at exactly 12:30. Shelley Luper is to be the guest speaker, and that would be quite interesting. Those of you that would like to attend, you may call me here, and I'll get in contact with the people at the Urban League to make sure that you have a seat reserved for you. This is the Clara Luper radio show. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of Blanche of Tom's Barbecue. Blanche has for years rendered service to this community, but she's been in the hospital. And as I talked to Blanche and listened, and she told me what you had done for her. You sent her flowers. You sent her money. You came by the hospital and by her home. And now Blanche would just like to say thanks to all of you. So from Blanche, your entrepreneur, your friend, a big thank you. That's from Blanche, the co-owner of Tom's Barbecue, located here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So many times you've called me and you've asked me questions, and I'm not afraid to answer your questions. You are exactly right. I have advocated toilets on the turnpike. I think it's a shame that intelligent people that are looking for tourists to come to Oklahoma and have all of these turnpikes, there's not one toilet on the turnpikes. I hope the new governor, and I'm going out and see him, and I'm going to ask that governor if he will do something about the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. I don't know all of the legal ramifications, and even that. It's a reflection on everybody in Oklahoma when they got big signs, rest stop, and you stop and there's not a toilet anyway. Anywhere? Why would you stop? You going to sit there and eat and drink pop and can't go to the restroom? That is a disgrace, and I want you to know it. And if I were an elected official, if I were a representative or a senator, I'd write me a bill, and in my bill I would demand that they have toilets on the turnpike. They have raised the price of turnpikes so high, and they told us that they would pay for it in so many years, yet they really paid for it. They paid enough to raise it. So when you go to Tulsa, I think it's $2.50 one way. That's $5 and can't even go to the bathroom. Now, these people don't understand the biological requirements. Every time you travel, say 2 hours, somebody needs to go to the restroom. It could be a child, it could be a senior citizen. Let's get on the ball and let's talk about the things that are real. Now, so many of you have called me about the parade. I told you last year that I didn't think it was right for the Martin Luther King parade on his birthday to be taken downtown. I disagreed with Mr. Roosevelt Milton and other members of the committee. They told me they did it to increase the white attendance. Well, I'm not doing nothing to increase the white attendance because the white people in this town got to realize that we are all together. And if you think as white people that you are too good to come to the east side of Oklahoma City, you are in bad shape. Now, according to what I've heard, and I have not received a press release, maybe because they know I disagree with the location. They are starting at Calvary Baptist Church and march downtown and go in the Civic Hall, pay those people to have speakers down there. Now, we enjoyed that parade when it started at the Ralph Ellison's library and went to the Capitol. We have churches in Oklahoma City large enough to hold the audience that will be attending that parade. But see, people will march with you. They will march downtown, march on the Bricktown and other places and eat, and you won't hear or see them till next year. When they were marching on the northeast side on Martin Luther King's Day, there were restaurants like Florence's, Stales, and chicken places and things on the northeast side where they would buy something. Don't you see that this is a threat to the economic security of the northeast side of Oklahoma City? If Martin Luther King was alive today, do you think he would be dressed in African attire marching downtown to please white folks? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to think about our future, and our future is wrapped up in common sense. Don't tell me about your degrees. Tell me about common sense. Wouldn't it make common sense since it started at the library? Wouldn't it make common sense to come back home where people could go across the street and buy something from those white and black businesses on the east side? Or does it make sense for us to go downtown and say, okay, we are downtown because we are pleasing the white folks? Well, one thing about me, I know how to please white folks. The way to please them is tell them the truth. And the truth is, white folks, if you believe in the doctrine of Martin Luther King, then come on to the east side. And today I'm going to make you a promise. And I want to see how you feel about it. I promise you that if next year that parade does not start from the northeast side of Oklahoma City, namely Ralph Ellison or Douglas High School, is named after that great abolitionist leader, we're going to have a parade of our own. We're going to have a parade and we're going to ask everybody, all you good white folks that want to see freedom, that believe in Martin Luther King, that's ringing the bell, even the governor, come and march with us, where our people can see you. Those of you that would agree, I would like for you to call me here at 672-1220 because I could be wrong, but I marched with Dr. King. But we got to sell. We didn't go to the white part of town to please the white folks. We started at Brown's Chapel. When we went to Birmingham to march, we didn't go try to find and please the white folks because I know how to please the white folks. Tell them the truth. I'm telling white folks, you know one thing, I know you love Clara Luper. Now, I'm going to tell you white folks, you love me so well, and I told you all this in 68 when everybody was saying, Miss Luper, you ought not to be picketing John A. Brown. Well, John A. Brown's, Mrs. Brown loves us. Well, Miss Brown sure loved us. She left me in her will the same thing she left you, which was nothing. Now, you determine love by what you receive. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very serious about it. Next year, if we are going to have a parade that starts on the northeast side of Oklahoma City. Now, that's a fact. This is a Clara Luper radio show. If you don't like what I say, you come out here and say what you want to say. I know what I'm saying. I am saying that it's time now to sign up for Miss Black Oklahoma. We are happy to report to you that we have contestants that have signed up for the first time in Yukon, Oklahoma, Putnam City West. We have people that have contestants that have signed up from Sepulveda, Oklahoma, and from Connors College. We are on our way. Next, on February the 4th, we will have our first pageant at the University of Central Oklahoma and at Cameron University. This next week, next Friday, will be the deadline for those of you that would like to be pages, and we are accepting the pages according to the invitations that come in. So if you want your child to be a page, and that page program is a very educational program, be sure and call us 672-1220 so we can get you an application. This week I had the opportunity to go to Jefferson High School, and I'm very grateful to Mr. Font, Mrs. Anderson, and others that made it possible. And I would like to pay a special tribute to the young people at Jefferson High School for the respect, for the interest, and for the questions that you continue to ask me. On yesterday, I had the opportunity to be the guest speaker on Martin Luther King's Day at McGinnis High School. And at McGinnis High School yesterday, I saw something that I'm so proud of. I wish everybody could see it in the state of Oklahoma in the United States. I saw a group of students. Doesn't make any difference because they were black, white, Asian, Hispanic, or what have you. I saw them lighting candles in honor of Afro Americans. This was sponsored by a cultural awareness uh, group. And these people performed. I have never seen anything like it. And I would like to salute McGinnis High School and that young white girl that wrote the script for Black History. You did a job, and I'm proud of you. And I'm going to have those young people out on radio. You're calling me because either you are upset about the fact that you travel the highway, the turnpike, and can't even go to the bathroom and continue. I'm telling you that's awful. Hello?
Hello, Miss Luper. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm fine this morning.
Okay, I'm a black business owner, and I was listening to you say about how they've changed the Martin Luther King parade. I feel as if they want to conjunct with us, which is fine. They need to keep it the same because when we go down there, they don't treat us the same as if we treat them. And we as black people need to learn to stay together for one. And it's okay to spread out, but take care of home base first. And when you get to going trying to hit home runs and hit it outfield, that's not right. And about the turnpike thing, Miss Lupe, I travel back and forth to Tulsa all the time. And it's a shame that we don't have a restroom and pay all these high dollars. And what you're doing, Miss Lupe, you're doing a good job. Like they say, Clara Luper don't know what she's talking about. I said, she don't. She's been there and done that already. So she ain't got to talk about it. She knows. And that's all I got to say. And keep up the good work. And I'm a member of Avery Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church. And my pastor, Reverend Strong, is doing a superb job. And the banquet was elegant. So people at OKC, see what one church is doing. Try doing it for your home church. I got to go. Have a nice day.
You got to go, but you something. And I'm saluting the people at Avery Chapel AME Church today. And those of you at Avery, I want you to know that I'm a good old hardcore Baptist, but I really appreciate what you are doing. Now, I'm talking, but talk does not cook rice. You may call me. I would like to have your feelings because in a few minutes you will get to hear what I have for you for Martin Luther King's Day. I have something. I have a minister here that I know, Dollar, my relatives are all listening to, because of the fact that he is their minister. And Mrs. Dotson, wherever you are, I know you are happy, and call your friend, tell them that it is a fact that we do have one of the most promising young ministers in our state, or maybe in our nation. Before I introduce him to you, because he will not be on until the closing out of this show, because I want to close my show today that was with something that's really outstanding. Do you know today I have with me a young man who preached in Detroit, Michigan at that historical Greater New Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church located at 586 Orange Street, who preached the 69th church anniversary sermon. This church is pastored by our own Dr. Benjamin L. Hooks, and I'm going to certainly ask him something about it. I want you to know that our speaker spoke in the morning at 10:45 in Detroit, Michigan. He is the pastor of the Prospective Baptist Church in Oklahoma City. He's a native of Oklahoma. He attended Bishop College in Dallas and received his BA degree in religion philosophy. He received his Master of Divinity from Virginia Union University in Richmond, Virginia. He has represented his community before the Oklahoma State Senate. He has served on the board of directors for a number of community organizations. He is president of the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Oklahoma City. And when I saw that they had elected him, I thought about Martin Luther King, because in 1955, when the Montgomery Improvement Association was organized, they selected a young minister as the president. And the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance selected Reverend Lee E. Cooper as their president. He is the past president of the Progressive Oklahoma Baptist State Convention and serves on the Board of Education and Publication of the Progressive National Baptist Convention. You can read about him in the 1993 edition of Who's Who in Religion. I want you to get ready, because in exactly 10 minutes, you will have the opportunity to hear him. And then you can tell the world about it. You can tell them that you're the young man from Oklahoma City who was selected of all of the preachers in the United States to preach the 69th church anniversary in Detroit, Michigan. This portion of our program is being brought to you by Mr. Carl Carbon of the Carbon Real Estate. Mr. Carbon says that he's located at 1243 Northeast 34th Street here in Oklahoma City. His telephone number is 427-8311. Mr. Carbon will sell you a house today. It's no use of your paying that high rent when you can get a house today. All you've got to do is call Mr. Carbon. You say you don't think you can qualify? You can qualify. Okay, call Clara Luper. Tell Clara Luper what you think. This is an interesting business. I had Reverend Jackson, Reverend Billingsley out, and some kind lady called me after my broadcast, and boy, she was cursing me to everything she could think of. I handed the telephone to Reverend Jackson, and Reverend Jackson looked at me and he said, nothing except, I'm going to pray for you, lady. So those of you that would like to curse me out, remember in the English language you don't have 20 curse words, and you are cursing because of the limitation of your own vocabulary. And once you start cursing, you got to repeat yourself over and over. And I have you on tape so that the whole world will know it. I wouldn't dare play it because somebody will recognize your voice and be surprised. I don't know why you cursing me out, though. Maybe, I don't know. Well, you had to curse somebody, so go on curse me. This is a Clara Luper radio show. Hello? Hello? Okay, if you don't get on now, just keep trying. I would like to say a special hello to my friend today, Mrs. Letty Ruth Hunter. I miss her so much because she's so much a part of all of us. The Miss Black Oklahoma City pageant will be held March 4th, the state pageant, and it will be held at the Clarion Hotel. The state pageant will be held in Oklahoma City at the Myriad Convention Center. And we are going down our list of those of you that have supported us. Send in your reservations early because of the growth of our pageant, and we have grown. I'm happy to report that I have some 12 young people that are now in college as a result of last year's pageant, and I would like to announce a $1,000 scholarship to that lovely, talented Clarissa Franklin from Oklahoma State University. And those of you that want to become a part of us, come on and join us, because scholarships is what counts. It's not so much whether you win or lose, it's whether you are in there trying. And any of you out there would like to give a scholarship, all you have to do is to call me. The telephone number is 672-1220. I know you would like to give a scholarship so you can sit back and say, I'm part of the program. Remember, Shelley is speaking today at 12:30 at the Applewood restaurant. Now, you're a maid, Shelley, Whatever Shelley is doing in Dallas now, it's because of you. And I would like to thank you. Clara Luper speaking. Hello?
Good morning, Mrs. Luper. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine this morning.
Good. This is Gloria Hall. I wanted to call and extend a personal thank you to you for all of the support that you have given us over the last 2 weeks for the Tuskegee Airmen banquet we had. And I wanted to also thank you for bringing a guest with you on last Saturday night.
Oh, well, thank you for thanking me. I love that. Oh, I love for people to thank me. It's really great. Thank you so much. Give me my flowers while I live. Because when I die, I don't want you coming up here with some resolution. I resolve to remember Clara Luper. Thank you, Gloria.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thanks again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's Gloria Hall, who belongs to the First AME Church here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. A special congratulations to Mrs. Leola Ford, who was one of the judges in that science fair this past week. I would like to welcome the sister and brother of Mr. George Fowler from Atlanta, Georgia, to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time now for me to give you what you have been waiting for. You've been waiting a long time to hear a message. And since this is a Martin Luther King celebration, since cities and schools will be closed with the exception of Choctaw, Oklahoma, a few others, and we are still working on that. Well, I'm going to give you exactly what you need today. Exactly what you need. I'm going to give you exactly what you need. Before I do, I want to hear from Bobby Ballard, and I want you to look at your clock, because in the next 4 minutes, you will hear from my guest. Hello, Bobby.
Good morning, Mom. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine today, and I won't complain.
Like we always say, what good would it do? You got to do something. Just get out and do something rather than complaining. What I really wanted to share with the radio listening audience is, and you too, is the fact that, you know, in some of the local newspapers, we've heard of keepers of the dream, people that are keeping Dr. King's dream alive, and including moving the parade from the east side to downtown.
Just a minute. Are you saying we are keeping Dr. King's dream alive by moving the parade from the east side to downtown?
That's what the forefront people that has moved the parade downtown is under the impression that they're keeping the dream alive. I'm totally against what has happened, but knowing some of the people that are involved in moving the parade from the east side to downtown, that's expected, and particularly with the local branch president, Mr. Roosevelt Milton. He, on one hand, speaks of keeping our dollars in the black community, sharing with the black people of our own community and business people, and yet he would move to take that parade downtown, but that's expected because Mr. Milton is represented in court in a federal litigation, and there's not one black attorney on his team. He has two white attorneys, so it's obvious where he would take the parade. But I'm very disturbed because no one in that little circle that is involved in moving the parade or doing anything has never, ever come out and said, I would like to give thanks to former Senator Bernard McIntyre, Senator Kane, Senator Dawson, Ross, Harbin, or Representative Cox of the House. These people need to be given some thanks for what they did to get the bill passed in order to make Dr. King's birthday a holiday in this state. I think they're remiss in their thoughts, not only by excluding these people from being mentioned as the fact that they're the ones that helped get the Dr. King's holiday approved here in this state, as well as moving the parade from the east side downtown. But again, it's sort of like that Oreo cookie. You might be black outside, but you're also white inside. And that's what I have to say about it. I think it's a shame that when a few people can take and get together without concerning the community's issues or the community's concerns. I know of no business person on the east side that anyone has talked to in reference to moving that parade. And I'm just totally against it, and I'm appalled that we have people in our own community that would take the liberty to self-appoint themselves to certain positions and start moving things without concerning the business people of the communities, the church community, or anyone else in the community.
Thank you so very kindly, Bobby, and certainly I'll agree with you. And I disagree because we don't have no preachers on the board of directors for NACP, and I think that's a shame. But the time has come now.
Well, I just want everybody to have a happy weekend and a great Dr. Martin Luther King's happy birthday time or whatever.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Mom.
The time has come now. The time has come now that we can listen to God's word as presented to us by Reverend Lee E. Cooper, Jr., my distinguished speaker for today. Reverend Cooper.
Hello, Mrs. Luper. It's indeed good to be here on this program, to have this opportunity to share on this King Celebration weekend. For truly we have a lot of magnificent things that are going on all week long as we celebrate the life and the legacy of Dr. King. Last night, the banquet with Avery, African Methodist Episcopal Church. Tomorrow we will celebrate in the religious services at the St. John Baptist Church at 3:30. Dr. W.K. Jackson, 26 years ago, decided to have a religious service on Sunday. This year we're having the Reverend Billy Kyles. And then, of course, all of the festivities that are going on related to the NAACP on Monday. This is indeed a glorious time for African Americans in this city, and we're honored to be on your program today. We come this weekend to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., a man who dedicated his life to our world struggle for equality, harmony, and justice for all. Dr. King's celebration will rekindle and reaffirm in the hearts of all of God's people a new sense of pride in America and a determination to make it a greater nation. Dr. King's dream of a day when all races, religions, and people could live together in community seems not to be in the distant future. It was not too long ago that Dr. King painted a picture of what an America united would look like in his I Have a Dream speech. An America in which all men, women, and children could grow to realize their full potential. It began 4 days after Dr. King's assassination in 1968, when U.S. Representative John Conyers, a Democrat from Michigan, introduced a bill that sought to have January 15th, Dr. King's birthday, designated as a national holiday. This bill failed to reach the House floor and seemed to die a quiet death. However, defeat kindled interest in the idea, and Conyers was subsequently joined by another group of people, a group that included the King family and some of the slain civil rights closest advisors. On October 19th, 1983, with all members present in the Senate voted 78 to 22 in favor of the holiday. On November 3rd, 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed the legislation into law. While it would appear that all is well in our great nation, I've come to serve notice to Radio Land today that we're still fighting for a dream come true. We cannot afford to be lulled to sleep by complacency. Signing legislation into law and making King's birthday a holiday is not enough. When we continue to struggle to make good on a check that has consistently come back marked insufficient funds. Sister Luper, it is easy for us to be satisfied with jobs at IBM and Xerox and General Motors. It is easy for us to be satisfied when we drive BMWs, Cadillacs, and Mercedes-Benz. It is easy for us to be satisfied with homes in Wildwood, Forest Park, Val Verde, and even Nichols Hills. But we cannot be satisfied when we know that our jails and our prisons are filled with potentially productive young black boys and girls. We cannot be satisfied when we know that our young people are strung out on drugs. We cannot be satisfied as long as our young people find a measure of pleasure in gangs as they search for some identity by wearing red and blue. We cannot be satisfied as long as Oklahoma ranks number 5 in teenage pregnancy. I'm here to tell you we cannot be satisfied as long as the Supreme Court will uphold a lower court's decision to overturn equality in our schools. We cannot be satisfied when more people in the state of Oklahoma died from gunshots than did car accidents. I tell you, we cannot be satisfied when Congress and the President is talking about welfare reform and has not considered the very people that it's supposed to help. I'm here to tell you we cannot be satisfied. As we celebrate this weekend, Sister Luper, it is a painful reminder that the struggle is not over. There is much work that must be done. In the midst of violence, oppression, and hatred, we must be a prophetic people. In the midst of hopelessness and pain, we must be a hopeful people. In the midst of compromise, we must be a committed people. In the midst of bondage and fear, we must be a liberated people. In the midst of suffering and death, we must be a liberating people. In the midst of intimidation and silence, we must be a witnessing people. In the midst of failure and disappointment, we must be a believing people. In the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, he said, "Let this affirmation be our ringing cry. It will give us courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give our tired feet new strength as we continue our forward stride toward the city of freedom. When our days become dark as 1,000 midnights, and it becomes dreary with low hovering clouds, let us remember that there is a great benign power in the universe whose name is God. And he is able to make a way out of no way and to somehow transform our dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. This is our hope for being better. This is our mandate for making this world a better world. Oklahoma City, I want to say to you, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. For there is a great camp meeting in the promised land. Though we have reneged on the promises, we must remain true to our commitment that Dr. King has given to us. Oklahoma City, as we strive to make this a better place, let us continue to walk together, to work together, to love as only Jesus has taught us to love. For we must know that the hour is come, and racism will not quit unless we demand it to. Let us continue to march on with a new sense of pride and commitment. Let us reaffirm our Christ as we move forward. Amen.
There you have it. There you have it. a message from one of God's ministers. Before Reverend Cooper leaves, I would like to ask him about the parade that the ministers will be with tomorrow. I understand that parade will be immediately after church. And, oh, I understand it. I know the answer to it. It would be after church. They will meet at Northeast High School and march on to St. John's Baptist Church. I'm sorry I do not have the minute details on that. But Reverend Cooper, you are the president of the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance. What does that basically mean?
Well, Sister Luper, what it means is that I serve as the presiding minister for that organization. Basically, it's comprised of all of our major denominations in our city, from the United Methodists to the Baptists to the AME Church has representation, as well as Disciples of Christ and Christian Church. In that organization, we are seeking to make some direct impact and influence on this community as we continue to celebrate the legacy that has been left to us and the freedom that has been given to us. On the earlier part of this month, we celebrated in our Emancipation Proclamation service, and we have several services that
3:30 was the one that Martin Luther King Jr. was going out to dinner with on April the 4th, 1968. Will you just tell me a little about him?
That is absolutely correct. The Reverend Dr. Samuel Billy Kiles, is the pastor of the Monumental Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee. He was instrumental and very much a part of the civil rights struggle even before King came onto the scene. But recognizing King's prominence, the ministers in Memphis, Tennessee encouraged King to come and to help them with a work stoppage. On that tragic day on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel, the Reverend Dr. Samuel Billy Kiles was in the room with King, spent the last hour of his life with our slain civil rights leader, and he was on the balcony right next to King as King was assassinated. He literally held King in his arms as he fell on that balcony. And Dr. Kiles has continued to work and be instrumental in the freedom of all people. And so he has served as a delegate to the African National Congress in Johannesburg, South Africa. He has also served as a monitor for the South Africans' first racial election in Johannesburg, South Africa in 1994. He, along with Representative John Conyers, I had a chance to meet him as I preached at the Greater New Mount Moriah Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, their 69th church anniversary. I met the Congressman John Conyers was there to report on the multiracial elections, and so a number of our prominent people in America have come, and Dr. Kiles was a part of that entourage that went to Johannesburg to monitor those elections.
Thank you so very kindly for being here today, and I would like for you to spend at least 10 more minutes with me.
Thank you so very much.
Some years ago, we started the Bachelor of the Year. At that time, many of you told me that there was no one to marry in Oklahoma City. And on this radio station, I ask you to nominate men for the Bachelor of the Year. I don't want no, as my grandmother would say, pot liquor gems. I didn't want anybody that couldn't support a wife. I wanted someone that had class, that had character, and all of that. And I would like to thank you for your many calls, and we really received a large number of nominees. But today I would like to announce the 1994 Bachelor of the Year. Handsome, job, an accountant, an outstanding father, a member of the Fifth Street Baptist Church, the Honorable Calvin Whitaker. Now, I've given you his name. I'm not going to tell you his address. But I can tell you one thing about fishing that I learned in Hoffman, Oklahoma. If you want to go fishing, you got to go down to the river. So those of you that is looking for a good man, you're going to have to get out and find him. You can find Calvin Whitaker at church. You can find him at NACP meeting. You can find him with his Alpha brothers. You can find him. So go out and look for Calvin Whitaker. And speaking of love, it was some years ago that Lucille and Portwood Williams fell in love. They fell in love to such an extent that they have been able to stay married for 60 years. Now, some of us, if we put all of our marriages together, we couldn't come up with 60 years. But today they are going to celebrate. And they are, in place of bringing gifts, they say bring a donation, and they are going to fix a gallery at Fifth Street Baptist Church. That wedding, I don't know whether it be a wedding, but that 60th anniversary celebration will be held at the Midwest Center between 4 and 7. You go in, you congratulate them, you leave some good wishes, don't leave no talk. Just remember that talk won't cook rice. Make them happy. And I would like to congratulate you, Mr. Williams, you, Mrs. Williams, for staying together for 60 long years. And may God bless you, and I hope you'll be married 60 more. Well, I don't know what they are going to do today, and I don't know what we are going to do as a people. But I know one thing, that this morning you have heard a message. You have heard a message that have satisfied my spiritual hungry appetite. And I would just like to say thanks to you, Reverend Cooper. Thank you for being a part of all of us. And where is your church located?
Sister Luper, I am the pastor of the Prospect Baptist Church, and it's located 2809 North Missouri. That is on 28th Street, 1 block west of Martin Luther King Jr. Street. I would be glad to have any of Radio Land to come and share with us. We want you to know that Christ is all and that you're only a stranger once. We're a friendly church of loving people, and we're reaching out to serve our Christ. And we thank you for this privilege and this opportunity to share together with Oklahoma City, for it was indeed an honored blessing and treat, and we were glad to be here.
Thank you so very kindly. Sandra Mitchell. Sandra?
I called to let you know, because I was running a little late getting into your program, that I do not support the Martin Luther King parade being moved downtown. And I was speaking with a young man at work yesterday, and he said, well, Sandra, you need to be there. I say, if I'm there, that means that I support the parade being moved. He said, you need to be there for PR purposes. I said, no, I will support the functions that will go on the east side of town, but I do not support the parade being moved downtown, and so therefore I will not participate in it.
Well, Sandra, I do not agree with your non-participation. I think, and I would encourage everyone to participate, but I would like for you to make your stand clear, because starting Monday, we're going to start planning for a parade on the east side of town. Would you please go to the parade today in order that people will come to the parade? And maybe, I'm sure, I don't know, I can't speak for anyone. Somebody accused me of being a leader. I've never told anybody that I'm a leader, but I'll tell you one thing I did. I led Calvin, Merle, and Shelley to the library and told them go in there and read. That's the kind of leader I am. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Oh, today the Zeta Phi Beta sorority will meet at 10 o'clock at the McFarland Branch YWCA. All Zetas are asked to be present wearing white, and not only that, I think they are going to elect a new bacillus. Who will become the new bacillus of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority? Well, I tell you who. I know who will be the bacillus, but I'm not going to tell you, Calvin.
Well,
this
you
is
know everything.
This.
You just on top of everything that's going on in this community.
I know one thing. I know you marched with Dr. King, and What do you think of this holiday?
Mom, this is a very special part of the year for me. You know, you go through the Christmas and you go through your Thanksgiving, you go through your 4th of July, but then remembering Dr. Martin Luther King and remembering him as a man and the ideas and the goals and aspirations of Dr. Martin Luther King has always been very special to me. You know, there are a lot of times that in our lives that we have an opportunity to see young people or people that are trying to do things, and they always get close to that goal, and someone has to pick up the torch and continue to run. This time of the year is a sort of a rededication time for me, in that I know that in my own way I can help make the dream come true. So I'm really excited about the holiday. I'm glad that we've together that we were able to have a state holiday. I'm glad that nationally we have a holiday. But then what I'd like to see more of is the holiday in our hearts and in our minds, and more importantly, in our attitudes in our community. And I just wanted to compliment you and my good buddy Dr. Cooper here. You know, one of the few churches here in Oklahoma City I enjoy going to beside Fifth Street Baptist Church is Dr. Cooper's church. You know, and I love the enthusiasm and the youthfulness and the drive that's there. So keep it up. I know this is going to be a fantastic year. And Mom, I don't know. I'm ready. How are you doing this year?
I am really doing fine, and so are the people at the Eugene Hair Connection, located at 1907 North Classen Boulevard. A special hello to Red, Gibbert, Anthony, Mark, Sam, and Loretta. I'll see you sometime today. I would like to say a special hello to all of you Averyites, because you did a job. You gave us something to strive for. You were able to pull in men and women of all races, creeds, and colors. You were able to do it. I want Janet Scott, who is the mother of Andrea, to please get in contact with me. It is very, very important. I've given it to you today. I've given you the best. And I want to hear from you. And those of you that enjoyed our program today, I hope it was a challenge to you. And as we get ready to move into another year, another week, I would ask you, young people, to put down your guns. Stop fighting, because what are you fighting over? What difference does it make whether the person wear red, blue, green, or polka dot? I would ask you, young people, to look at where we have come as a people. 246 years of slavery, over 100 years of legalized segregation, and you are here fighting somebody? Shame on you. Those of you that would pick up a pen or a pencil and write on somebody's wall, you know that's not the Christian thing to do. It's not the patriotic thing to do, so I would ask you to put your pens and your pencils up. There was a time when we used to look at young people and be so proud, but now we have young people that's snatching somebody's purses. Shame on you. If you want some money, you got to get out and work, and you don't get there all at once. You have to start. You didn't start walking. You crawled before you walked, and before you crawled, you started rolling. My message to you would be very simple. Let's do what's right because it's right. And remember, young people, that you are all we have. We don't have no oil wells. All we have is our young people. And if we lose you, we'll lose everybody. Johnny May called me with tears in her eyes, very grateful for the message that you delivered today. And she says, God bless you. And God bless me. She remembers. And she would like to say to Clara Luper and you, Reverend Cooper, that she loves us. And as I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time for me to say goodbye. And I really hate to say goodbye to you, because these are critical times. But I would close by saying to you, if you believe that we should have toilets, join me in this fight for toilets on the turnpike. If you believe that we should bring the parade back to the east side, join with us. This is Clara Luper saying, go down to Stale's Restaurant, go to Florence. Let's support our restaurants and businesses on the northeast side. And until next Saturday, Reverend Cooper and I are saying, we love you.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
This is AM 1220, KTLV, Midwest City, Oklahoma City.
The following is a paid program. The views and opinions expressed or products endorsed are not necessarily those of KTOV, its staff, or management.